Hey guys, welcome back to the channel. If you've just started playing disc golf or you've been playing for a while, you know short game is where you're gonna save strokes and putting is really where it's at. So if you wanna get better at putting, I have 3 tips that just might help you. Let's go. Hey guys, I've been playing disc golf for a while and I know one way that you really can shave strokes off your scores quickly, and that's giving some time and practice putting. I know a lot of us don't like to go out to a putting green and practice, but guarantee if you put a little effort into it, you're gonna be shaving strokes off your score and you're gonna be winning more disc golf rounds. All right, now I have 3 simple tips that we're gonna talk about today. We're gonna talk about grip, we're gonna talk about your putter, and then we're gonna talk about what to practice. So let's start with grip. Now we're gonna start basic with grip and your putter, because honestly, if you don't have a solid grip and some solid putters, then the practice you're gonna put in really isn't gonna help. But if you can nail down what putting grip that you really like and stick to it, you're gonna be more consistent. All right, there's lots of disc golf putting grips out there, videos that'll show you. You can look those up, but I'm gonna give you the tips that I've found that work for me. There's always a question of whether to put your finger on the front here or underneath. I've found through experience, putting the rim right on that first knuckle down here underneath, thumb on top, and then these 2 fingers underneath, and then the pinky, I don't really know. Sometimes it's here, sometimes it's there. It's just whatever feels right is kind of over here. The reason I really like this grip is because the thumb pressure here and these 2 fingers create a good, solid foundation for me to spin the disc. So that's where I generate most of my spin, is these 2 fingers. When I snap it, these 2 fingers and my thumb pressure are really coming off, and then this knuckle right there helps kind of guide the disc where it is. I found when I put my pointer finger here, I can kind of spray the shots left and right. It's not as consistent, whereas it feels really good on that knuckle. One cool thing that you can do just sitting on the couch watching TV is just sit back and generate some spin just like that, just with your wrist. This is a good way of kind of getting used to that spin. So if you can sit there, I'm not using a lot of arm or anything. We're just using my thumb, these 2 fingers, and then this knuckle here to guide the disc. You can just sit there watching football all day long and get used to that wrist generating spin. Now, let's move to tip number 2. Tip number 2 is find the right putter for you. Guys, there's lots of putters out there. So go to a store, walk around, feel what feels good for you. Now for me, I really like a base plastic that is firm. I'm currently using a Pixel. This is the same one that Simon Lizotte uses also. I like it in the firm plastic. Basically, I found firm plastic helps me generate a little bit more spin. If it's a softer plastic, especially here in the South, once it gets hot, that soft plastic, it's not as consistent of a release, whereas the firm plastic, it holds up in the heat and I can get a much more consistent release. Now, I will say, once it gets cold down here, which in the Carolinas doesn't get cold too often, sometimes I do switch over to the medium plastic because it feels more like the firm plastic when it's warm out. Now, if you haven't figured out a putter yet, I'd highly recommend looking at either a Judge or a PA3. In my experience, I've found a lot of players who are beginners, who've been playing a while, really like these. They feel kind of similar. I'd say the PA3 is probably a little shallower. So if you like shallower putters, go for this. But the Judge is just a good all-around putter. Good way to start out, and I do recommend getting it in prime plastic. Now the prime Judges are only $8.99 a piece. You can pick those up at Disc Golf Deals USA. Get a stack of them because that'll help you in practicing too. So whether you go on a PA3 or a Judge or a Pixel like me, I'd say really take some time, try out some putters. Stores will let you walk around. You can kind of feel what works best for you. Pick up a stack of putters. So if you really like a prime Judge, these are only $8.99 at Disc Golf Deals USA. You can pick up 10 of them for under $100. That's really gonna help you in my next tip when it comes down for practicing. All right, now let's go to tip number 3. Now here's my 3rd tip. Once you figure out what putter you really like, go out and get 10 of the exact same putter and the exact same plastic. This will give you a more consistent practice, which is what we're doing right now. Now, once you have 10 putters that are exactly the same, I highly recommend finding that distance of putting where it really kind of gives you some butterflies. Like, man, I really don't know if I'm gonna make this or not. For me, it's that 30-foot distance. So if I have one time to go out and practice in a day, I'm gonna set up a cone at about 30 feet. And I'm just gonna sit there and I'm gonna try to hit as many 30-footers as I can. Now, for some of you guys out there who might be starting, maybe that distance is 15 feet or maybe 20 feet. That's fine, start there. But the more you go, the more you progress, try to move that cone back about 5 more feet. Okay, so we're putting this all together. We got the putters that are just right for us. We got the grip that's just right for us. We've been practicing that spin. Now we're gonna set up in a stance that's good for you. Now you can either choose to do a straddle stance or a staggered stance. You guys can look up more about that on YouTube. But once you figure out your stance, line up with the basket and see how many you can hit. Now, if you don't make them all, don't let it get you down. Just keep working on it. And if you miss, try to figure out why you missed and fix it. Now, before you putt, let's talk about aiming. Now, for a right-hand backhand player, the best spot to aim on a basket is this nice little diagonal swath that you have starting at the top, going all the way down to the left. So top right to the left, you got this diagonal sweet spot that, because of the way the disc spins, if you can hit it anywhere in that diagonal, you got a pretty good chance of the disc going in. Now, if you're looking for a way to dial in how to aim on the basket, these little disc dots, they're available on Disc Golf Deals USA, are pretty slick. They fit on the chain just about anywhere you want. So let's say I really want to aim at this chain right here. You can put this disc dot on there, nice and easy, and that gives you a good spot to aim. And they even have glow-in-the-dark ones, which are kind of cool. So I can put this one here, and I can even practice at nighttime. So I'd recommend getting 3 of these disc dots, and you can put them in that little diagonal swath, and that gives you a really good aiming point. Hey guys, when it comes down to it, there's no rocket science behind putting. It just comes down to good old hard practice. But if you can nail down a grip, the putting, and get a good solid practice routine in, I guarantee you're gonna be better putters too. Now, if you guys have some tips that have worked for you, let me know in the comments. I would love to hear it. But these are just 3 tips that really helped me when I was getting started playing disc golf. All right guys, if you're looking to get some putters or some disc dots or anything else for your disc golf needs, head on over to Disc Golf Deals USA, use my code, it'll save you 10%. All right, until I see you next time, peace out.
Turn it up.